Imagine a Middle Eastern NATO rising from the ashes of one of the most volatile periods in modern history. As the shadow of war between the US and Iran grows and traditional alliances fray, three of the world's most powerful Sunni nations, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan, have just signed a historic pact that changes everything. Their promise is simple but seismic. An attack on one is now an attack on all. The Mecca Joint Defense Agreement, signed on August 7, 2026, marks a turning point in global geopolitics. At the heart of the deal is a collective defense clause modeled after NATO's Article 5. If one of these nations faces an armed attack, the other two are now formally obligated to intervene. This isn't just a diplomatic handshake. It is a fundamental shift in the security architecture of the Middle East and beyond. To understand why this is happening now, we have to look back at the cascade of events that pushed these nations together. The roots of this tension trace back to October 7, 2023, when the Hamas-led attacks on Israel triggered a cycle of violence that engulfed the region. By September 2025, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan had already established a bilateral defense pact, signaling a growing desire for regional self-reliance. The pressure only intensified in early 2026. A regional war involving the United States, Israel, and Iran broke out, choking off shipping lanes in the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea. As Saudi infrastructure became a target and global security guarantees seemed to waver, the three nations accelerated year-long negotiations. By January 2026, the potential for a trilateral platform moved from the shadows to the forefront of global attention. The trio of signatories brings together a formidable combination of strategic assets. Saudi Arabia provides oil-rich capital and a desire to diversify its security umbrella. Pakistan, the only nuclear-armed Muslim state, brings massive military weight. And Turkey, a seasoned NATO member, offers the alliance's second-largest standing army and a world-class, rapidly expanding defense industry, particularly in drone technology. The official stance from Riyadh, Ankara, and Islamabad is that this agreement is purely defensive. They emphasize cooperation through joint exercises, technology transfers, and intelligence sharing. Proponents argue this is a necessary locally driven solution to a power vacuum. With Washington increasingly perceived as an unreliable partner in a complex, multipolar world, these nations are taking their future into their own hands. However, critics and observers across the globe see the pact as a potential powder keg. Many worry that this is essentially a calculated effort to counter the influence of Iran and its proxies. While Saudi officials explicitly deny a sectarian motive, the geopolitical reality of such an alliance is impossible to ignore. Iran has already begun to react, framing the agreement as a bold attempt to build a new security order centered on Riyadh and its new partners. For Israel, the agreement is deeply concerning. Given Turkey's increasingly strained relationship with Jerusalem and the overarching tensions of the ongoing regional conflict, this pact creates a new strategic hurdle. It shifts the balance of power, forcing regional players to recalculate their safety. The deal turns the Middle East into a more rigid theater of alliances, moving away from the fluid relationships of the past decade.
President Erdogan has hinted that this is just the beginning. By describing the agreement as open to the participation of all brotherly countries, he suggests this could eventually grow into a much larger regional security framework. It is a bold vision for a new era where regional powers set the rules, rather than following the directives of traditional global superpowers, who have struggled to maintain influence in the face of local turmoil. As we look toward the future, the world will be watching to see how this all-for-one clause holds up under pressure. Will it deter aggression as intended, or will it trigger a new, more dangerous arms race across the Middle East? The Mecca Joint Defense Agreement is a sign that the old order is fading, and a new, more unpredictable power dynamic is rising in its place. The geopolitical map has been redrawn.
Ultimately, the success of this alliance will depend on its ability to navigate the fragile tensions between the world's major powers while maintaining its own cohesion. Only time will tell if this pact brings the stability the region so desperately craves, or if it merely formalizes the divides that have kept the area in turmoil for so long. We are witnessing the birth of a new, formidable regional bloc,